Nazi rallies. And if you ever go there, there will be a local guide that will explain how these rallies would be organized, how they would be carried about. And it was fascinating what they did, right, to help people focus and very eagerly await the coming of Hitler, of the Fuhrer. They basically would gather the massive crowds, tens of thousands, sometimes even over 100,000. It was like a picture-a-school event. It was kind of like that. They would gather them there in the stadium and the grounds, and then they would basically provide a play-by-play account over the loudspeakers of what Hitler was doing and how close he was to the stadium. They would hear stuff like, "At this moment, the Fuhrer is leaving his home and entering the car to drive to the stadium. The Fuhrer's car has left his residence. The Fuhrer's car is on the so-and-so road on its way to the stadium. The Fuhrer's car has passed," and they would describe this landmark or that landmark. "The Fuhrer is now 10 minutes away from the stadium. The Fuhrer's car is 5 minutes away from the stadium. The Fuhrer's vehicle has entered the stadium grounds. The Fuhrer has exited from his car and is walking towards the entrance to the stadium. The Fuhrer is inside the stadium. The Fuhrer is approaching the elevator that will bring him to the balcony. The Fuhrer has exited the elevator and is about to appear at the balcony." And then by the time Hitler got out there, it was like, "Ah!" You know. They had a horrific goal in mind, but they had very smart tactics. It was brilliant the way that they got the crowd to focus and eagerly await this coming. Now, obviously, you can figure out the reason I'm telling you all this is not to get you to be Nazis or follow Hitler, to help all of us become better followers of Christ. And that is what the Advent season is trying to get us to do, to focus on the coming of Christ, to eagerly await it, so that when we encounter him, we can allow it to fill us with tremendous life. Now, the season of Advent, of course, talks about two formal comings of Christ. The first coming, which we will focus on towards the end of Advent, especially after December 17th. And we do that in anticipation of celebrating his birth, a historic event at Christmas. And then we're also, the season of Advent reminds us that we need to be prepared, that we should eagerly anticipate his second coming, whenever that takes place. And however, in the meantime, between these two comings, there is another informal coming of Christ that Advent reminds us to be very watchful of, and that is the constant coming of Christ into our lives. Every day, at every moment, in the midst of all the ordinary stuff that we go through every day, in the midst of whatever is happening around us, within us, Christ is coming to us. And he's coming to us, he's coming to protect us. He's coming to purify us, to help us mature. He's coming to guide us. He's coming to motivate us, to show us new things, to inspire us. He's coming to refresh our lives. And sometimes, maybe quite often, we are oblivious to that coming. We are oblivious to what the Lord is trying to do in our lives, to what he may be saying to us, to where he's trying to point us, too. And the reason that we're often oblivious to all of that is because our lives are too fast and too noisy. Too fast and too noisy. You know, if you ever maybe not so much within Miami itself, because traffic is so bad, it's noisy enough, but you can't go that fast, right? Clearly during rush hour, right? But if you ever you get on the turnpike, you get on the highway, right? If you step on it, right, and you're buzzing, if you look to the sides, everything seems like a blur. The quicker you go, less you can distinguish what it is that you're passing, because you're going too fast. Can't see it, can't detail it. If there's so much noise in our lives, it's very difficult to hear, right? To be sensitive to what the Lord may be trying to tell us. You're just surviving the noise, right? So the season of Advent calls us, without abandoning any of our responsibilities, to take on a different attitude towards them, to see those responsibilities, how we manage them, in a new light, to slow down, to enter into greater silence. Only if we do that can we properly reflect, and then we can respond instead of reacting to life. Now, clearly we call this, right, and we call the Advent season in the secular world, we call it the holiday season. And it's wonderful. Listen, all this stuff that we do during this time, the decorations, the shopping, the parties, hey, none of that is bad. Everything to an excess is, of course, at any time is bad. But all those things are good. They're healthy. Insofar as we're not rushing around like chickens without a head, right? And not taking the time to see how the Lord is coming into our lives, what He's trying to do, what He's trying to say. So as we journey through this holiday season, and clearly through this beautiful, beautiful season of Advent, may we be indeed watchful. May we be alert. May we slow down and enter into silence enough so that we can eagerly anticipate the coming of the Lord to the balcony that is right in front of us, within us, and all around us.